Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup, the show where we round up all of the latest news in the world of nerdy movies. Today we've got some pretty serious topics to get through. Actual, serious events have occurred, and they're not going to be, fun, wacky discussions. They're going to be pretty serious discussions, so be prepared for that, but we also do have some fun stuff to talk about. Let's just get into it. All right. First up, David F. Sandberg is no longer directing not just DC movies, but comic book movies as a whole. So he put out this tweet here. On Rotten Tomatoes, I just got my lowest critic score and my highest audience score on the same film. I wasn't expecting a repeat of the first movie critically, but I was still a little surprised because I think it's a good film. Oh well. As I've been saying for a while now, I'm very eager to go back to horror as well as try some new things. After 6 years of Shazam, I'm definitely done with superheroes for now. Just to be clear, I don't regret even for a second making the Shazam movies. I've learned so much and gotten to work with some truly amazing people. Will forever be grateful that I got to direct 2 of these. They've been very challenging but valuable experiences. One thing I've really been looking forward to is disconnecting from superhero discourse online. A lot of that stresses me out so much, and it'll be nice not having to think about that anymore. So, yeah. David Sandberg is, of course, the director of Shazam 1 and Shazam Fury of the Gods, and he's basically saying that he's done with this nonsense. I'm no longer directing superhero movies, and I think that's fair. I think that some people have been looking at this as him kind of coping, of were you even gonna be offered to direct more superhero movies considering yours haven't done very well? And I think he would have, because I think at the end of the day, with Shazam he made a quality movie, and with Shazam 2, I think he made a fun movie, and I think at the end of the day, I think studios, at least I would hope, would look at him and be like, hey, he made decent movies, so it's up to us to market and promote them. But either way, he says he doesn't want to do it anyways, and honestly, I can understand that. I mean, 6 years is a long-ass time. That is a long-ass time, and I can absolutely just understand wanting to do different things creatively. I think it's good for a creative person to not just stick on the same thing for too long. I think that's why trilogies are often difficult, because if a director is staying there for the third movie, oftentimes that third movie they're going to kind of run out of steam. And then I also think it's important to note that thing he says at the end there, that superhero online discourse is shitty and it sucks and it's not all that pleasant to be in, and I could absolutely understand that, because it's the same thing with Star Wars, but when you're making a Marvel and a DC movie, you're not just making a movie. You're making a movie that, if it's bad, it is going to be shat on for years to come, right? Rian Johnson couldn't just direct a bad Star Wars movie. And by the way, if you think it's good, that's fine. But he can't just direct a Star Wars movie. His Star Wars movie has to be shat on for the next 30 years. It is going to be shat on for the next 30 years. People that disliked his Star Wars movie shit on all of his movies that he makes right now. Knives Out, they'll shit on it. They'll shit on Poker Face, his series. And, I think Christopher McQuarrie himself, he's directed a lot of the recent Mission Impossible movies. He's come out and said that he doesn't want to do a Star Wars movie. And he's openly stated that it is because of the fan base. So, and I think the same applies with Marvel and DC. It's who would want to, I mean, obviously there are going to be a lot of people still that want to step into DC, but it's if you're one of the best directors in the business right now, it's why would you even want to step into DC? Where, if you make some creative choice that people don't like, they will shit on you endlessly for it. So yeah, I don't know. I think this is one of those moments where I feel like we, as a fan base, have to kind of take a step back and be like, hold on. Maybe we can be slightly less autistic. maybe we can just not obsess over things as much as we do. Because it's like, I don't know, like if you disliked Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, for example, it is perfectly valid to state, hold on, I actually need to do something. Hold on for 1 second. My apologies about that. But as I was saying, maybe you didn't like Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. You don't need to shit on Peyton Reed for it. You know, you don't need to go to his social media. You don't need to like make it your personality, like your entire personality is just hating Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. It's like you can say you dislike it and then move on with your life. You know? Superman Legacy, right? James Gunn is making a Superman Legacy. If Superman Legacy comes out and you don't vibe with it, that's fine. It's even fine to voice that opinion. But you don't need to harass James Gunn about it. You don't need to say that, like, oh, you don't need to, like, harass me, like, oh, you killed the Snyderverse, and you're a horrible person, and you deserve to die. It's like, you don't need to do all that. Just say you don't like it, doesn't vibe with you, and then go outside and roll around a field, you know? I don't know. There's something to think about, if maybe anything I said applies to you. Yeah, next story. The Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel has started filming. Look at them. They're on set. I did not watch the first Ghostbusters Afterlife. I just wasn't very interested in it, but they've started filming. Would you look at that? Somebody somewhere is excited, I guess. Next story. I just don't have much to say. Shazam! Fury of the Gods is not doing well at the box office. So, where is it? Is it up here? Does it say it? I should have reviewed these again. Oh yeah, okay. The sequel to DC Comics adapting hit film will enjoy an unexceptional victory for its debut, earning $30.5 million. So it fell short of like the 35 to 40 million that it was being tracked as, and that's bad. That's bad. It only opened with like a worldwide gross of 65.5 million. I don't have the article here, but I was also reading that this weekend, because this was last weekend. This weekend, it's tracking for like an $8 million second weekend, which is awful. Like that's really bad. So yeah. Now obviously now we have to ask ourselves, well, actually this just we're gonna touch back on this later on in the video. So I guess I'll wait before I like give my take on why this happened and really like at the end of the day what went wrong. So we'll wait because Zachary Levi came out and said some stuff. So for now, it opened pretty badly. So there we go. Next story. Daredevil Born Again. We got some set photos. So this here is of Charlie Cox and what's her name? Nikki M. James. So we knew that she was cast in this. Now, whenever there's like a female sort of, or honestly, whenever there's like any, I think at the end of the day, we only know about like female cast members of the show, because I can't think of any like males that have been cast in the show aside from like John Bernthal and Kingpin. But anytime there's been like somebody cast in the show, people have been just like on watch being like, are they replacing Deborah Ann Wall's Karen? Is that Karen? Are you replacing Deborah Ann Wall? Marvel, blah blah blah. So we know that this lady is here, but we don't know who she's playing. Everyone's terrified that she might be playing Karen, and they're replacing Deborah Ann Wall. Thus, maybe it being the case that the Netflix shows aren't canon. That's still the debate. We'll get to the we'll get to more of that debate later. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea who she's playing, but there are two attractive people in business attire. What do you look at that? Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I am dubious about the show. Marvel Studios has never made anything as good as the Netflix Daredevil show. They just haven't. I mean, this is my opinion, of course. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you think that Hawkeye is peak television. But in my estimation, Marvel Studios, whether it be television or film, they've never made anything as good as the Netflix Daredevil show. So I'm not expecting much from this show. Like, I'm not expecting it to be as good as the Netflix Daredevil show. But I can't lie. Seeing Charlie Cox back as Matt Murdock, it's making me hyped. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? You know, like low key, the most hype moment of No Way Home was seeing Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. Right? Obviously, the best episode of She-Hulk was the one with Matt Murdock. So, like, I guess what I'm saying is that at this point, I am like, Charlie Cox is so good in this role, and Marvel Studios have at least demonstrated that they're able to make good, fun Daredevil content that I'm not necessarily expecting like peak television, like the Daredevil Netflix show, but I think I will at the very least have fun with this. So that's where I'm at with the show right now. But we have another set photo that is going to be interesting. So this set photo suggests that maybe Daredevil Born Again takes place during the Blip. So if you zoom in here, there's a little board here, right? Because this is like Matt Murdock is like just like walking down the sidewalk or whatever, and he's next to a church, and the date on this little billboard here is March 35th, 2020. I don't know if you can make it out in the video, but it's March 35th, 2020. So now this is where people's minds have gone to. Wait, does Daredevil Born Again take place in 2020? If it does take place in 2020, then that means that it would take place during the Blip. So that would explain why Karen and Foggy aren't in the show, because it takes place during the Blip. So maybe they are coming back at some point, and maybe this is in the same continuity as the Netflix Daredevil show, because there are no contradictions, even though there are contradictions because they recast Vanessa. But we're just gonna put that aside. You know, they recast War Machine and Iron Man 2, so that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So that's where people's minds have gone to. But unfortunately, I am going to have to rain on your guys' parade a little bit, because so apparently people looked up this is actually okay, so yeah, people looked up the same exact like spot on Google Street View, and this sign was already like this on August of 2021 when this picture was taken for Google Street View. So basically what that means is that this sign already said March 15th. Oh, is it 15th? Hold on. Let me actually. Is that? Oh, okay. I can see how that could say March 15th, but yeah, okay. So I see. What was I saying? Yeah, so this sign said March 15th, 2020, back in August of 2021, before Daredevil Born Again started filming. So this sign was not like edited by the set designers of Daredevil Born Again. It just happened to say that. So it is entirely possible. So I guess just to clarify, it is entirely possible that this show takes place during the blip. I mean, it is. That is possible. But we can't use this sign as evidence for that because it already looked like that. So like if the show takes place in modern day, they would just like edit that sign in post. In post-production, I mean. So yeah. So again, it is entirely possible that the show takes place during the blip and blah 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 blah. But unfortunately, we cannot use this sign as evidence of that. But that was exciting when we saw them. We were like, "Ooh, we figured something out. We're sleuthing. Our sleuthing yielded no results, unfortunately." All right, next story. Let's talk about Tears of the Kingdom a little bit. So we got like a little. We got a quote from the director of the game, Eiji Aonuma, or I guess he's a producer on the game. But so he says this. This was in a deleted tweet of tweets covering like an interview that was apparently deleted. So it says, in the sequel, Tears of the Kingdom, furthermore, the player's free imagination will be filled with new gameplay that will bring about changes to the game world. It was also claimed that Aonuma said he hoped everyone would be pleasantly surprised by these changes and would enjoy exploring Hyrule in an unknown state. So, there's one thing that should be stated is that this was an interview that was in Japanese, and so it's been like translated into English. So sometimes there are things that are lost in translation, but this is a very interesting quote. Because here's my current like gut check feeling on Breath of the Wild, and I've been saying this for a while, is that I feel like there has to be something about this game that will blow our minds that we just don't know about. Because my initial feelings on this game were, I would be totally fine if this game just ends up being like a Majora's Mask-esque, Breath of the Wild sequel, where it just takes it takes the same world, it takes a lot of the same elements, and we just go on like a new adventure in this world, and it's not going to blow our minds like Breath of the Wild did or anything. The world isn't going to be as fun to explore because we've already explored it. So I was fine with a more basic sequel. But they've taken like 6 years to develop it. If they were going to give us a sequel like that, just kind of a basic sequel, we should have gotten it way sooner than this. And so that makes my mind go, I feel like they've had to take all this time to do something. What is that thing? And so I don't necessarily know what to glean from this, where he says the player's free imagination will be filled with new gameplay that will bring about changes to the game world. Like, there are like these floating islands and stuff. It's like, are we gonna be able to somehow control that in some way? Like, I don't know. And they say that we'll explore Hyrule in an unknown state. What does that mean? I don't know. So at the end of the day, we really can't glean much from this quote. It's a little vague, but I just wanted to throw that out there about my gut check on this game currently, is that I feel like there has to be something about it that is going to blow our minds and is going to be amazing. But at the same time, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, because it still very well could just be a basic bare bones Breath of the Wild sequel that just kind of takes a lot of the same elements of it and just gives you a new little adventure. It's totally possible. And if that does end up happening, I'm not going to come out here and be like, oh, the game sucks because I did the same game. It's like, if it's a fun game, it'll be a fun game and I'll be satisfied. But I just feel like there has to be something to it. And the other thing that makes me think that is that right now, this game is a month out, and we've barely seen anything about it. They've been hiding it from us. They've been hiding it. There's something about it that they don't want us to see. And I've like if you look at Nintendo's Twitter account, they're using Breath of the Wild to advertise Tears of the Kingdom. Like they're not putting out tweets being like, "Hey, are you excited for Tears of the Kingdom?" Or like, "Hey, here, look at footage of Tears of the Kingdom. Get excited for the new game." They're posting like gameplay clips of Breath of the Wild to like build up hype for Tears of the Kingdom. It's weird. And I don't know. I don't know because this is a Nintendo. This is a very weird, crazy company that makes weird decisions. I'm like, would they be this secretive about a game that's just a bare bones Breath of the Wild sequel? I think they could be. I think that is a thing that they would do. But that's so stupid. It's so stupid. I don't know. I don't want to get my hypes up too much. Or my hopes up too much. So I'm not going into this. I'm not going into this game expecting to have my mind blown or anything, but I'm not ruling out the possibility either. So we'll have to see what happens. All right, next story. Okay, more gaming stuff. Rebel Moon is getting an RPG. Actually, give me 1 second. I need to reset my camera. But, yeah, Rebel Moon is getting an RPG, which is interesting. So this is what Zack Snyder had to say about it. The one thing that I'm having a really good time with, and I don't really know if I'm supposed to talk about it, is this RPG that we're doing that is just literally insane and so immersive and so intense and so huge, Snyder revealed. Briefly saying, I don't want to do a casual... Before interrupting himself, Snyder added, there's more coming, but all I'll say is that it was pitched to me because I've always wanted to do an RPG. Like, well, we could do it at this scale or we could do it at ridiculous scale. And I was like, ridiculous scale is clearly the scale that we should be doing it. They were like, well, it's going to take so much time. We've got to do all these brain dumps and you've got to tell us everything in the universe, what's happening, the science. And I was like, it's fine. I'm happy to do it. Let's go all the way. Snyder added that the game would offer a completely realized universe and it's really going to be fun before saying, anyway, I'm not supposed to talk about it and changing the subject. So, interesting stuff here. So, when he says an RPG, I'm thinking about like what Rebel Moon is. Like, it's curious to know I'd be curious to know exactly what he means by that. Like, are we getting like... Like, is he talking about they're making, like, a Witcher 3, like, a Cyberpunk 2077 level RPG for Rebel Moon, like, on that scale? I mean, that would be interesting. I mean, that would be ambitious. And then my other question is this game just going to be put on Netflix? Like, or are they going to sell it? Like, is Netflix really going to like consolidate those costs and just plop it on their service? And if they do plop it on their service, are they just going to like are they going to like have some sort of streaming infrastructure that allows us to stream games, or are we going to be able to download that game on our computers and play it? There's a lot of interesting stuff here, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because, I mean, I would imagine that Netflix owns like the IP rights to Rebel Moon, so I would imagine that if they are making a game, it would have to be done through Netflix. But that's the thing about Netflix games right now, is that they only do mobile games, which it was definitely very just like underwhelming when it came out. It was like, oh, just a bunch of little mobile games. And at this point, they do have some decent stuff on there, but nothing on the level of like a big RPG like Zack Snyder is suggesting this game is going to be. So it'll be interesting because it could just be like a Witcher style RPG that is just on mobile. Like that is possible. Phones are pretty powerful right now. Like you can play Genshin Impact on there. Like you can play like The Pathless was a pretty impressive game on iPhone. So it's like if you make like a more scaled down RPG game, like that could work on a mobile device. But I'm just gonna be very curious to see how this all works. Like, what is Netflix's infrastructure gonna be like? Is this game, are they just gonna like sell it on Steam and console? Well, we'll see. We will have to wait and see. All right, next story. Okay, so apparently Rebel Moon is also holding up the Army of the Dead franchise. Zack Snyder says, as far as the Army of the Dead universe goes, it's still alive and well in my mind. I know exactly what I would do. However, the director admitted that development on Planet of the Dead, the current title for the film sequel, was on pause while he finished his next movie, Rebel Moon, which could be the start of a new franchise for Netflix. It really depends on how we try to figure out how we go forward with Rebel Moon and the Rebel Moon universe. It's not a small-time commitment, he explained. A sci-fi thing at this scale does require a lot of attention to make it all make sense. So, yeah, sorry to all of you Army of the Dead stans, but the sequel is on hold because Zack Snyder is only one man, after all. And he's not able to direct 2 movies at once. I feel like, I don't know, like if I were Netflix, I'd be like, okay, listen, dude, we're going to go out and get like another guy to direct it, because Army of the Dead, as much as I have a very strong dislike for that movie, it was pretty big on Netflix. Like it was. And like I don't know, if I were Netflix, I'd be like, okay, listen, we love you, Zach, but we're gonna get another guy to direct this. While you work on Rebel Moon, you know, you can obviously produce it, and you are the mastermind of the Army of the Dead franchise, but we're not just gonna wait around. But either way, I think it's funny that like Zack Snyder can't even make like he can't even make Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead at the same time, and a lot of the like, you know, restore the Snyderverse people are out there like sincerely thinking that he's going to be able to do his Rebel Moon movie and like come back to do the Snyderverse as well. So just maybe hamper your expectations a little bit, right? Like I don't like, not to get too deep into that conversation, but it's like, dude, he's creating his own Star Wars like universe. Like what? I don't even know that he would want to come back to DC when he has like that many like that much of Netflix's resources to make this big budget movie. So I don't know. Well, but we'll see what comes from that. All right. Sorry, I do need to do another thing, so I'm gonna have to put the stream on hold for one more time. I promise. sorry about that, but I have adult responsibilities, unfortunately. Okay. So here we have a tweet where James Gunn confirms that he has not begun casting other than making lists. It says here, so he's responding to a tweet here, and it's not limited to people in their 20s. So he kind of debunks two things, I should say, that a lot of us have been kind of thinking that. A lot of people have kind of been assuming that, well, he probably already has his Superman cast, and he's just not letting us know, or he's not telling us. But as of March 22nd, James Gunn is claiming that he has not cast anybody as Superman, but he has started making lists. And he's also, a lot of us have also been thinking, because I think he said before, he said before that his Superman is going to be a Superman that's in his early days at the Daily Planet. And a lot of us have kind of been thinking, oh, they're making a little baby Superman. This is young Superman. And so a lot of us have been kind of thinking, okay, well, it's going to be someone in their 20s. But James Gunn is saying, no. It could be an old person. Because, of course, if you're 30, you're old. You're an old man. So, not necessarily. So, we'll have to see what comes from this. I personally am not invested in who plays Superman, because I don't get super invested in casting anyways. I'm very much just of the opinion that just get a good actor. Get a good actor and it'll be fine. I'm not going to get too invested in who plays Superman. All right. Next story. Stephen Knight to write new Star Wars movie after Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson exit. So Stephen Knight, he is the creator of Peaky Blinders, and he's set to write screenplay for the untitled Star Wars movie that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy of Ms. Marvel is attached to direct. As the original screenwriters Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson have departed the project, Variety has confirmed. I am just not even going to say anything about this, because I have zero faith that a Star Wars movie will be made. We will never get another Star Wars movie. I'm not going to believe that we're getting another Star Wars movie until I am watching the credits of the next Star Wars movie. Like, until I have sat my ass down in a theater, I have watched the film, and I've begun watching the credits of said film, I will not believe that we're getting another Star Wars movie. Even while I am in the theater watching it, I will be of the opinion that a Lucasfilm employee will, like, come into the theater and, like, steal the film reel because they're actually canceling the movie. I just have no faith, okay? How many times are we going to hear that, this Star Wars movie is happening from this person, oh, never mind, it's canceled. Oh, this Star Wars movie is happening by this person, oh, never mind, it's canceled. Patty Jenkins is making a Star Wars movie, never mind, she's not making a Star Wars movie. Kevin Feige is making a Star Wars movie, never mind, Kevin Feige is making a Star Wars movie. Benioff and Weiss, whatever, the Game of Thrones guys, they're making a Star Wars movie. Never mind, he's not making a Star Wars movie. Rian Johnson is making a Star Wars trilogy. Never mind, he's not making a Star Wars trilogy. No, we're never getting another Star Wars movie. It's never happening. Stop it. Stop. Don't give yourself hope. Stop it. Stop. It's not happening. We're not getting another one. Until I have sat my ass down in a theater and watched a Star Wars movie, I will not believe that we're getting one. Like, once like critics are able to, like, watch the movie and we see the Rotten Tomatoes score, all of those critics have just been paid off by Marvel. Even if it's a low score, Marvel is just covering their tracks. It's a fake movie. We're never getting another one. So that's my opinion on that. But on a more serious note, I've never seen Peaky Blinders, so I'm not really, I don't know, I'm not familiar with, off the top of my head, what Stephen Knight has done, but there's a little blurb here. Knight is a veteran screenwriter who launched his career specializing in gritty crime dramas, like 2002's Dirty Pretty Things and 2007's Eastern Promises, eventually branching out to lighthearted dramedies. 2014's The 100-Foot Journey and thrillers, 2016's Allied and biopics, 2021's Spencer. He also created and executive produced the BBC period crime drama Peaky Blinders, which streams on Netflix in the US. So I'm just, to be honest, I'm not familiar with any of that, so I don't know. Hopefully it's good. Maybe it'll be bad. It'll probably be bad. Keep your expectations low. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. Next up, let's get into shenanigans. If it'll load. So, The Wrap, they posted an article. Do I not have the Wrap article here? Well, I guess technically, I think. Sorry, I took a week off last week, and I think this Wrap article came out during when that show would have been. So in my mind, I just didn't include it here, but whatever, who cares? So basically, The Wrap made an article. Okay, and this is the important quote from it. The Wrap confirms that in Shazam: Fury of the Gods, the Justice Society from Black Adam were recruiting Shazam in the post-credits. The Rock denied access, and David F. Sandberg had to make a last-minute decision to add Amelia and John. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson attempted to restructure the DCEU, centering him and Henry Cavill's Superman. The Rock didn't allow Zachary Levi to cameo in a post-credit for Black Adam either. So, The Wrap puts out this article, basically, stating that Dwayne Johnson blocked Shazam from interacting with the Justice Society. Basically, The Rock has been just trying to separate Black Adam and Shazam, because The Rock wants him and Henry Cavill, or he wanted him and Henry Cavill, because that's all done with. It doesn't matter anymore because James Gunn came in and yeeted them. But The Rock wanted the DCEU to center around Black Adam and Superman, and he viewed Shazam as a lesser character. And Zachary Levi on his Instagram, he basically comes out and says, he highlights this article here, and he says, "The truth shall set you free." Oh boy. So, I mean, he's basically in this here, he's confirming that, that aspect of this is true. And again, we'll get to Zachary Levi, like a video of him talking about this, but here, I guess just to talk about the Rock aspect of the movie, I think that this is just a really good example of why an actor like Dwayne Johnson does not work in like Marvel or DC. The Rock simply has too much of an ego. He's too controlling. Because, bro, you agreed to play Shazam's arch nemesis. What did you think this was? In what universe should the DCEU center around Superman and Black Adam? Like, a DC universe needs to be built off of Batman and Superman. Those are your two premier characters. Shazam is a D-list character. Black Adam is a side character of that D-list character. I'm sorry, The Rock, but you agreed to play the arch nemesis of a D-list character. A DCEU should not be centered around Black Adam and and again, I get it. This is The Rock. He's the biggest movie star in the world, but he's incapable of making decisions that are best for the universe. He's only interested in making decisions that are best for Dwayne Johnson, and that's what I'm taking for this. Is that, like, you just can't really have personalities like these in your universe, because whereas like creatives should be charting out the course for the DC universe, you have a situation where you have someone with as much power as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, like, taking control of a bunch of stuff over here. And then you have sort of David F. Sandberg making his own little Shazam stuff over here. Then you have Then you had James Gunn making his own stuff with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, and none of it is working together. And you have Dwayne Johnson trying to commandeer Superman, and it doesn't work because it's like, of course Shazam should interact with Black Adam. What do you mean? Like I don't know what The Rock was thinking. It's like that would be like if The Rock was like, I want to play Lex Luthor, and he's like, my one stipulation is that Lex Luthor shall never interact with Superman. It's like, what are you talking about? And by the way, I'm not talking about like a Joker situation where that's just like in a completely different universe. I'm talking about like in the main DCEU, it's like The Rock was like, I want to play Lex Luthor, but I never want to interact with Superman. It's like, what are you talking about, Dwayne? You're high. What are you talking about? So yeah, that now, should Zachary Levi be like doing this? Probably not. Probably should just keep it quiet, keep things behind the scenes. But he is talking about it. Oh, you know what? Actually, let us. Yeah, I'm actually gonna skip ahead. I didn't plan this out very well. Let's skip ahead to where he talks about it some more. All right, let me see if I can pull this up here. Yeah, okay, we can watch his post on Instagram. So, sorry, I'm pulling this up here. We're just going to watch this because can you guys hear this? Let me see. I think you should be able to. Go down in the city. This is a bit long, but I can't fast forward on Instagram. I don't think so. Ooh, I wanna be there. Zachary Levi is I think he's having some kind of mental breakdown. I don't know if that's what we're witnessing here.
Oh, hi, Sophie. Hi, everybody. Thanks for jumping into my life. Wow, we're at like 3,500 people. Woo! Okay, listen, guys, I'm going to make this real quick today because I got to go run to a dinner with my friends like a normal person does. First, I want to say... Oh, also, listen, this also happens to be a little bit of a fundraiser, because why not? Because every live can be a fundraiser. So you can donate to Active Minds, incredible organization, providing mental health resources and
donating to charity
on college and high school campuses all over the United States. Go check them out.
If you criticize anything that he says here, you're actually anti-charity. So
do your body good.
Think about that.
It'll do your heart and soul and mind so well. So that's number one. Number two, you're awesome. I love you.
Thank you, Zach.
All of you out there that have gone and supported, watched, some of you multiple times, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Shazam
I watched
Fury
it.
of the Gods.
I am a supporter, Zach.
You have seen the movie, and you have loved the movie. My DMs are
okay. I didn't love it.
All of your love, it means the world to me. With all the crazy
it was okay.
drama and nonsense that's going on in the world right now, in my world right now, I see your love. I so appreciate it. You have no idea. So just know that I'm good. I'm doing okay. I mean, it's disappointing to not be doing as well as I think we should or deserve to be, because I really think we made a really great movie. But shit happens. I don't know. I'm trusting in the bosses above me that they're doing whatever they need to do to remedy the situation. And I do think, listen, there's plenty more time to go see this movie while it's still in theaters. And honestly, listen.
Unfortunately, people are not taking advantage of that time.
It is a fantastic, fun for the whole family movie. It's like Goonies, guys. Just like the first one, it's got the heart, the humor, the charm.
Is it like Goonies?
The spookiness, all that stuff.
It is like Goonies in the sense that there are children in the movie.
It feels like that kind of a movie. So I don't know how you're going to go to a movie like this and not feel joy or fun, like some people have said. I don't know how that's even possible, because literally that's what it all is.
It's not possible. You can't possibly have a differing opinion.
I highly encourage you, honestly.
Not physically possible.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I'm so grateful for all of you. I'm so grateful for the love that you continue to pour out and all the support that you continue to send my way. It means the world. So that's that. Now, just to address some of the tea. The tea that's been spilled and going on out there. So, listen, I don't know if anybody watching right now
Give
are
me
Snyder fans
the tea.
or DC fans, people that are not fans of mine or on the fence or ambivalent. I don't know. But let me just tell you, I love you too. If you don't want to go see our movie, you don't have to go see our movie. If you don't like me, that's okay. I like me. In fact, I love me.
I do like Zach. I think he's.
And you don't want to go watch a comic book.
I will say
movie
this. Then I've never seen anything about Zachary Levi that's made me gone like, oh, that guy's an asshole. He did make those like anti-vax tweets, but I'm also not one of these guys that's gonna just like, if someone is anti-vax, oh geez, it's like, whatever. I'm not gonna make them my enemy.
Kind of humor in it because you're more into like just straight up dark, hard action, whatever. I get it. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to force anybody to go do anything that they don't want to do. But let me just remind
if only we could, though.
Where comics started. It's particularly where Captain Marvel started. These were in comics that were geared toward younger people, that were geared toward the escapism and the fun and oftentimes the silliness and the goofiness and all of that stuff. And I think it's a real shame if somehow comic book movies have gotten to a place where they have to be nothing but serious and nothing but intense and nothing but dark, because that's a sad day, guys. I don't know what else to say about that. What else? Oh, King Bach, what's up, bro? And then oh yes, and then also, so I may or may not have reposted something in my stories about a story that I had nothing to do with, that The Wire had reported on.
Wasn't The Wire, it was The Wrap, but whatever.
Because people were saying, "Oh, what are you doing? You're trying to blame this guy because your movie's not doing well. Like you're trying to blame us." Listen, I haven't blamed anybody. There's not one single.
Oh
person.
Yeah, I guess I forgot to say. Okay, so I would say as far as why Shazam: Fury of the Gods is doing as bad as it is, I honestly think at the end of the day, I think the blame has to fall on the marketing first and foremost. The marketing for this movie was terrible. I mean, they did not put out like a good trailer until like the last like official final trailer that came out. Like that was the first time I watched the movie and I was like, oh, that looks okay. That looks pretty good. Like I had zero interest in this movie based on the trailers previous to that. I mean, honestly, I feel like leading up to the movie, like I wasn't seeing like much advertising anywhere at all. I mean, maybe Warner Brothers had just accepted that the movie wasn't gonna do well, so they decided to ramp down the marketing. But I also feel like it just wasn't marketed all that much in the first place. And then aside from that, I don't think it has much to do with the fact that James Gunn like announced that they're rebooting the DCEU, because at the end of the day, general audiences don't really pay attention to that stuff. Like, general audiences aren't aware that James Gunn is rebooting the DCU with The Flash. They don't actually know that. So, I don't think that had much influence. I think you also have to put some of the blame at just the state of comic book movies, where, I think the last 3 comic book movies that we'd gotten were like Black Adam, which not good. Then you get like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, not good. And so when we have a character like Shazam, which is already not a very popular character, people are going to be even less inclined to check out his movie. Because that's the thing where we're at right now with comic book movies, is that for a long time, right, you had Sony dropping the ball. You also had, DC dropping the ball, even Fox dropping the ball. But ever since 2008, we have always had a strong Marvel Cinematic Universe that I feel like has always like sort of raised the tide for all the ships, or however that saying goes. But we don't have a strong Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. And I think I think Ant-Man's box office is reflecting that. And I also think that Shazam's box office is to some degree reflecting that. So yeah, I don't think it has much to do with and I also agree with what Zachary Levi is saying here. Like, I don't think that The Rock, messing with Shazam is at all affecting the box office, because most people aren't aware of that. I also don't, like, as evidenced by Black Adam's box office, Black Adam showing up in Shazam or or Shazam showing up in Black Adam would not have really affected that much.
That I have blamed for anything with the way that our movie has performed. I legitimately haven't. And if you're listening to videos or watching videos of me or looking at things and you're getting that idea, you are being fooled. You are being brainwashed. You are looking at propaganda. Those are clips. Those are edited. Those are taken completely out of context. And so I just encourage you, if you're out there, if you're hearing this right now, or if you see, by the way, this will probably all get chopped up too. That is the irony. But I swear to you, I'm not blaming any of you. I'm really not. I have my thoughts about what's going on. But here's the thing. The reason I decided to share that was not because I want to blame anybody for anything. It's because I do not want to be blamed for things that are not on me. And I don't, and as a leader and I believe a protector of my family, my Shazamly, and everyone who works so hard on these movies, and everybody who works so hard at New Line and Warner Brothers and DC, the hard-working, wonderful people in these organizations, and everyone within the Shazam production, for years, we have been doing everything we can to fight for you, the fans. Yes, even all of you fans that don't like me, all of you fans who love Henry Cavill, we tried desperately to get Henry Cavill in the first movie.
All right, so there we go. They wanted Henry Cavill in the first movie. What else do you have to say, Zach?
It wasn't a headless Superman because we wanted him to be a headless Superman. We were thwarted. All of these hardworking people were thwarted. We were not allowed to have that happen, okay? That was not on us. That was not because we didn't want that to happen for you. Listen, guys, I am a comic nerd. I've been growing up with this stuff. I love all this stuff. I want to blow all of your minds with all the crossovers and all the goods. And trust me, it bummed me out greatly when we couldn't get Henry Cavill. I wanted him so bad in the first movie, and we couldn't get him. That was not because we didn't try. That was not because we chose not to have him there. That was not on us. Moreover, in this movie, people are slagging on James Gunn because Jennifer Holland, his wife, who is an actress, who's on a show, who's on Peacemaker and was in Suicide Squad, yes, but is connected to the Justice Society.
Yeah, so there is in one of the after credit scenes of Shazam: Fury of the Gods, Jennifer Holland and I don't remember her. What was her name? Her character's name in Peacemaker, whatever. Her and Economos, they show up basically trying to recruit Shazam to join the JSA.
Jennifer and Steve in that scene, in the mid-credit scene in Shazam. But that was not the original intent. The original intent was to have Hawkman and Cyclone be there to inviting me. By the way, this is a little bit of a spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the movie. Sorry. Whatever. It's all online anyway. So our intent, our desire, Walter Hamada, Peter Safran, David Sandberg, myself, everybody, we had an awesome scene that would have tied me in to the JSA with Hawkman and with Cyclone, and we were thwarted. This is not.
So, notice what he says there. He says that, David Sandberg, Peter Safran, and Walter Hamada wanted them in there. Walter Hamada at the time would have been like the head of these I think he was like the head of Warner Brothers like films, right? So he was like he was kind of like the overseer of a lot of that. Now, at the end of the day, we don't know exactly how all of these contracts work, but a lot of people are basically saying, but Dwayne Johnson wouldn't have been able to impact whether or not, whether or not the JSA shows up in Shazam. Dwayne Johnson couldn't have had that much power. At the end of the day, we don't know we don't know the specifics of that, because as a producer on Black Adam, it absolutely is possible that he could have had some kind of vetoing power, saying like, hey, my characters that I'm using in my movie, I don't want them showing up in that movie. That's possible. Like, it is possible. So I'm inclined to believe the rap when they report that, and I'm inclined to believe what Zachary Levi is saying here as somebody that was involved in this, to say that, yes, The Rock vetoed the JSA showing up in the Shazam post-credit scene. Oops.
Not me. I'm not talking about these things as I'm trying to blame anybody for our movie doing however well or not well it's doing. I am merely coming to the defense of the people that ought to be defended. I'm coming to the defense of truth, because truth is good, and we should all live in it, guys, even when it's hard, even when it's something that might fly in the face of something that we already might have believed.
Now start
before,
talking about the
now
vaccine,
challenge
Zach.
whatever our idea or our opinion is. We need to live in the truth, okay? So that's what's going on.
Give us that truth.
That's all I did. That's all I'm saying. You want to keep hating me? Go on and keep hating me. But for all of you who have been loving me, gosh dang it, I love you so much. I'm so grateful. And listen, go see the movie. And if you've already seen it, go see it again. In fact, honestly, I would really appreciate people going and supporting this movie, in lieu of the fact that there are a lot of people that just don't know. However it all sliced, there's a lot of people.
Okay, I think the rest of this is just like, please go see my movie, guys. Please see the movie. So, yeah, it honestly does seem to be the case that The Rock was, yes, he was trying to take over the DCEU. By the way, when I say that, I'm not saying that The Rock was trying to become the president of DC Studios like James Gunn and Peter Safran are, but he was trying to center the universe around Black Adam and Superman. And when you're commandeering the Superman character, yes, you are effectively in control of the DCEU, because Superman is going to be the central focus of whatever universe you're in. So, or whatever of the DCEU. So yes, The Rock was trying to take over, and he was weirdly trying to not have Black Adam interact with Shazam, which is just stupid and lame. And The Rock, he's simply a guy with too much of an ego and too much power to be in like a cinematic universe, because he's just going to take over it and make silly, wacky, and goofy decisions like that. So, that's all I have to say about that. Let's move on to our next story. Okay. So, a few weeks back, probably about a month ago, we talked about the whole Justin Roiland situation, and it looks like that his claim or his charge for domestic abuse has been dismissed. So Justin Roiland put out this tweet here that states, "Justice, I've always known that these claims were false, and I never had any doubt that this day would come. I'm thankful that this case has been dismissed, but at the same time, I'm still deeply shaken by the horrible lies that were reported about me during this process. Most of all, I'm disappointed that so many people were so quick to judge without knowing the facts, based solely on the word of an embittered ex trying to bypass due process and have me canceled. That it may have succeeded even partially is shameful. However, now that the legal case has ended, I'm determined to move forward and focus both on my creative projects and restoring my good name." So, I mean, hey, listen, the fact that this case was dismissed, I mean, that is something, you know. Clearly, they did not have enough evidence to properly charge Justin Roiland. Now, the question then comes, okay, so is Justin Roiland going to come back to Rick and Morty? Is he going to get his deal back with Hulu? I was sorry, I turned my camera back on. I would say don't hold your breath on that front, because as noted in this article that I saved here, that was not the only controversy that came out of the Justin Roiland situation. So let me see if I can find that here. Yes. The public backlash against Roiland didn't just stem from the domestic violence charges. However, in the wake of the case, several former co-workers of Roiland's came forward to accuse the Rick and Morty co-creator of previously unreported misconduct. Alec Robbins, narrative director at Squanch Games, claimed Roiland wasn't welcome in the Rick and Morty writers' room for several years leading up to his court case because of multiple covered-up internal Warner Brothers investigations re sexual misconduct. Another report alleged that while developing Season 3 of the Adult Swim series, Roiland would openly discuss his penchant threesomes and sent a staffer really creepy late-night text asking her to come to his home. As Roiland's domestic violence charges came to light, Rick and Morty staffers organized against his continued association with the series. So, and then also, following his highly publicized court case, Roiland was also accused online of misconduct unrelated to the workplace. Several people, including underage girls, shared DMs and other instances of troubling interactions with Roiland. This alleged insight into his character resulted in many viewing his shock humor tendencies in a concerning new light, such as one joke Roiland made on a 2011 podcast. Look, a fucking 14-year-old that looks like she's 18 and like big titties, of course I'm attracted to that, Roiland said. These girls, they're fully developed and they're like talking online, I want you to fuck me. So, there's a lot of stuff here, and this is not the show where we're going to go too deep into like the DMs and all that stuff. You can look into that stuff if you really want to, but there's the charge that was dismissed. I'm glad truth, as Zachary Levi would claim, has prevailed on that front. If it really is the case that they just didn't have much evidence to charge him with. But there's still a bunch of other stuff here, and no, I do not think he's going to come back to Rick and Morty. I do not think that he's going to come back to like his Hulu deal or with Squanch Games that he stepped down from. Unless, a lot of this other stuff also gets proven to be false. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna come back to all that stuff, and I don't think that this is the case of the cancel culture has struck again. The cancel culture, blah blah blah. No, there's some stuff here. There is absolutely some stuff here, stuff that's been highly reported and publicized, and so. And let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. Okay. Next story. It looks like X Men 97. The villain is going to be Mr. Sinister. So, the showrunner Bo DeMayo revealed this. This is a quote from her. A very, 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 very favorite character of mine and many others, Mr. Sinister, will rear his ugly head from the past with a petty, foolproof plan to destroy the X-Men once and for all. Yep. So he also confirmed that he's going to be played by the original voice actor. So I have actually never seen X-Men, the animated series. It's one of those things that I'm going to have to get to before X-Men 97 comes out. So, to be honest, I don't have much to say on this front. But I assume X-Men, the animated series fans are excited. All right. Next up, it looks like we're getting a big AAA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, but it's kind of weird. So, a new, very different style of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game is currently in development, an adaptation of The Last Ronin, the 2020 graphic novel that told a grim, futuristic story about the Turtles. Like the comic, The Last Ronin video game adaptation will be a darker, more mature take on the typically colorful Ninja Turtles, according to Doug Rosen, Senior Vice President for Games and Emerging Media at Paramount Global. So, okay, so in an interview with Polygon last week, Rosen likened the upcoming third-person action role-playing game to Sony's recent God of War titles and said it will be authentic to the story of the Last Ronin arc, which is set in a future where only one of the turtles has survived. So I think they actually spoil that story later while I was reading this article, so I'm not going to spoil it here, but basically the gist of the Last Ronin is that it's set in the future. It's kind of like Dark Knight Returns-esque, but there in this future there is one remaining, like one last surviving turtle, and he wears like a black mask so you don't know exactly who the turtle is. Apparently he fights with like all of the turtle's weapons, so he'll fight with like the sai and the katanas, or not katanas, what is, I don't know, whatever Leonardo has, the swords. And he'll fight with the bow staff and with the nunchucks. So it's kind of a mystery as to who exactly the turtle that survived is. But yeah, all the other turtles have died, as well as Splinter, and he is like the last Ronin. And it's supposed to be like a very like dark and gritty story. This seems like a weird game to make, but it also sounds kind of cool. I don't know. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of that canceled Damian Wayne Batman game that WB Games Montreal was supposedly working on. Because this is true. They were working on a game that was like about Damian Wayne, set years after the end of Arkham Knight, where I think Batman is supposed to be dead. And you know, it's just kind of like this Batman Beyond weird hybrid where you're playing as Damian Wayne. But they eventually canceled that. But a game like that kind of makes sense because it's like, okay, we've had the definitive Arkham game trilogy. Now let's do something weird. We don't really have like a definitive Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arkham style game. And when I say that, I mean like a game that just like fully captures what the Ninja Turtles could be in a video game. Like not to hate on like the beat 'em up Ninja Turtles games. Obviously those are great. Obviously those are iconic, but I'm talking about like a third person action adventure Ninja Turtles game that is like the ultimate Ninja Turtles experience. We don't have that. So it's weird for them to just like jump to the last Ronin and be like, all the other turtles are dead. Only one of them is surviving. It's like, oh, okay. Like, it's kind of weird. But either way, it sounds kind of interesting. I don't know. It sounds pretty cool. Also, just a weird thing. They're saying that it's like the head of Paramount refers to it as a role-playing game. And he says that it's like God of War. Is God of War an RPG? Now, I've never played God of War, so maybe I just don't understand it. But I would not have considered those games to be RPG games. But I don't know. Maybe the term RPG is just doesn't really mean much at this point. So that's also probably part of this. But yeah, I thought that was also kind of interesting. Okay, continuing on, next story. Spider-Man 2 has been confirmed for a September launch. So, it looks like in a deleted tweet, the voice actor for Venom, Tony Todd, somebody asked him like, "Hey, when's the game coming out?" And he said this: "Looks like September." The acclaimed actor wrote on Twitter while responding to a fan. Oh wait, hold on. Let me pull up the article. Sorry. Okay, looks like September. The acclaimed actor wrote on Twitter while responding to a fan. Massive publicity coming in August. Commercials start dropping in August, so I'm told. Hold on to your and hold. I don't know what this means. Hold on to your and hold breath. Gonna be necessary. So, okay. He released the secrets. It's coming out in September. I would imagine that this is correct. Unless it gets delayed. Like, I believe that he was told this. So, yeah, it looks like we can expect a September release date for Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I think that makes sense. What I'm mostly curious about this game is just the fact that we don't know anything about it. Honestly, it kind of reminds me of Breath of the Wild, of like they're being very secretive about this game, and it's like I feel like we should have gotten a trailer at this point. I mean, at least Breath of the Wild gave us some trailers. Like, we have seen gameplay of Breath of the Wild. We have not seen any gameplay from Spider-Man 2. I mean, the first Spider-Man game, in the initial reveal trailer, they showed off some gameplay. Like, we've only seen like a little cinematic that I doubt will even be in the game. So, I'm wondering. I am, again, much like Breath of the Wild, I'm left speculating. I'm like, what's this game gonna entail? Like, I've been having this like kind of this thought of like, what if this game ends up being like a spiritual successor to Ultimate Spider-Man? Did you ever play that game? I played it on the GameCube. Well, not on the GameCube. I played it on the Wii, which also played GameCube games. Doesn't matter. You don't care about that part. But remember Ultimate Spider-Man, where like half of that game you played as Peter Parker Spider-Man, and then half of the game you played as Venom? What if this game let you play? Hey, today. Shut up!
iDNA is an ETF that covers innovation,
what is this ad?
Genetic testing, and more.
I don't know what this ad is. Stop.
iDNA.
Okay, sorry. What if this game let you play it as like Peter and Miles and Venom? I don't know. Like, maybe that's why they're hiding it. Maybe they want to leave that as a surprise as long as possible. But I don't know. Either way, I'm very excited about this game. Although I will say I don't own a PS5, and I have no idea when I'm going to be able to justify the purchase of a PS5. Like, I'm not really in a position, I don't think, where I'm going to be able to save up for a PS5 by September. So that's disappointing. We'll see though. I don't know. It's like, here's the thing. What I normally used to do is, because it's been very hard for me to justify purchasing like a video game console. Like, I never even owned a PS4, but like I used to, like, if there's a game where like the story is something that I'm really interested in, I'll just like watch like a cutscene movie version of it. But the thing is that I did that with Miles Morales, and then after playing it, I realized, oh shoot, I totally missed out on a lot of the storytelling because I didn't play the game. A lot of Miles Morales' storytelling genuinely does come from gameplay, I feel like. So I think I might just be patient. Like, if I don't have a PS5 by the time this comes out, I think I'll just be patient and wait a bit. Like, I don't need to experience it immediately. Or we'll see. Maybe I'll be impatient and then I'll just watch the cutscene movie version of it. That's probably what I'll do because I need to be in the loop. But either way, we'll see what happens. I absolutely adore the first game, and I absolutely adore the story in the first game. So we shall see what comes of this. Okay. Next story. We got another biggie. Victoria Alonso has been fired from Marvel. So we're going to read a good chunk of this. So the Oscar-nominated film Argentina 1985 was at the center of last week's sudden firing of longtime Marvel Studios executive Victoria Alonso, The Hollywood Reporter has learned. So Alonso was one of 8 producers on the Argentine historical drama, which was distributed by Amazon and competed for the Best International Feature. However, by assuming that role, she breached her contract several times, according to sources. After repeated warnings, the situation came to a head the week after the Academy Awards ultimately led to her termination. It was a seismic shakeup at Marvel, where for years, Alonso was part of the Holy Trinity, along with Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige and co-president Luis Desposito, who led the Marvel Cinematic Universe to even greater heights. So that's the claim it looks like that Marvel is making, is that she breached her contract by producing Argentina 85, and that's why she got fired. So according to insiders, Alonso breached a 2018 agreement that included the company's standards of business conduct, which states that employees cannot work for competing studios. Sources say that Alonso did not ask permission to work on Argentina 1985, nor did she give notice. However, an IndieWire piece published last month on the film stated that she did have permission, When Disney found out about the project and the violation, her longtime service and veteran status led the company to give her a dispensation on the condition that she not work on the movie further. She was also not to promote it or publicize it in any way. The situation of a top executive working on a movie outside company confines was deemed serious enough to involve the management audit team, and a new memo was signed, according to an insider. So apparently Disney declined to comment, but Alonso's attorney, Patty Glazier, released a statement after the initial publication of this story. Said the attorney, "The idea that Victoria was fired over a handful of press interviews relating to a personal passion project about human rights and democracy that was nominated for an Oscar and which she got Disney's blessing to work on." So this attorney is completely contradicting that. And which she got Disney's blessing to work on is absolutely ridiculous. Victoria, a gay Latina who had the courage to criticize Disney, was silenced. Then she was terminated when she refused to do something she believed was reprehensible. Disney and Marvel made a really poor decision that will have serious consequences. There is a lot more to this story, and Victoria will be telling it shortly in one form or another. So, giggity gosh dang darned. So, but then, I mean, the Hollywood Reporter, their sources are, I guess, saying that, Argentina 1985 premiered in September of 2022. And says they're saying here Alonso then found herself front and center in the film's campaign, attending screenings, sitting in panels, and doing interviews. According to sources, she was reminded of her agreement and her breach several times, but the campaigning continued. It says here she even appeared on the Oscars carpet, not as a Marvel executive associated with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, but with Argentina 1985. I guess again, the Hollywood Reporter saying here that Disney executives was saying that she was wasting too much time promoting Argentina 1985, while Marvel's visual effects have been as busy as they've ever been. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else that I should read here? Yeah. Oh, okay. There is some more other stuff here. So, throughout the last year or so, as Marvel pumped out an unprecedented number of series and movies, a general impression emerged that VFX artists were not being well treated by Marvel. Attributed to factors including long hours, drum-tight deadlines, and a lack of a singular vision, releases including the February film Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania were catching flack for subpar visual effects work, while Alonso herself became more and more polarizing. You can only ask a person to stay until 1 a.m. working on VFX shots for so long before things start to break, says one post-production source. Another post-production talent says that they have avoided working with Marvel because of Alonso's reputation for being challenging. Still, she had her supporters, including Eternal star Selma Hayek. Also, why would anybody care about what Selma Hayek has to say? I'm sorry, no offense, but she's not a visual effects artist. Okay, I'm just seeing if there's anything else that I should read before I get into this. There's nothing else really here. So here there is another quote of a VFX artist kind of defending Alonso, says one VFX pro. It is unclear who will take over for Alonso in the interim. At least some. Sorry, I'm going to start reading here. In any case, the VFX industry will be closely watching what follows. Marvel is one of the most lucrative talents for VFX houses because of the scope of its work. Its tentpoles regularly having in excess of 2,000 VFX shots, sometimes more than a whopping 3,000 per movie. It is unclear who will take over for Alonso in the interim. At least some vendors are working with VFX producer Jen Underhall for now, but insiders acknowledge whoever assumes her duties officially will face similar challenges as Alonso, who helped put out the unprecedented 18 films, TV shows, and specials that Marvel released in 2021 and 2022. Says one VFX pro. Whatever criticisms are being leveled against her, she's not an island. part of the problem is the aggressive release schedules. That aggressive schedule could already be in the rearview mirror, however, as returning Disney CEO Bob Iger has stated an intention to slow down Marvel's output. Okay. So let's talk a bit about this. First of all, right now it seems like we have Disney as well as Hollywood Reporter sources saying that Victoria Alonso straight up broke her contract, right? She breached the agreement of her contract that stated that she cannot work on another studio's film and much less campaign for it. And that Victoria Alonso's behavior there just left them no choice, that they had to fire her because she just straight up breached her contract. Then we have Victoria Alonso stating that's bullshit. Not only would they not fire me over something as small as that, they gave me blessing to work on that. At least that's what her attorney said, that they gave Victoria Alonso blessing to work on it. So we have two just completely contradictory positions there. And I will say this on that front. This is the same company, Walt Disney Studios, that straight up, they broke their contract with Scarlett Johansson. Remember that? That contract stated that Black Widow had to be theatrically released, and they were just like, "No, we're good. We're gonna put it on Disney Plus." Straight up breaking the contract. Straight up refused to, make any kind of deal with Scarlett Johansson, and they left Scarlett Johansson no choice but to sue Disney, because it's like, bro, you broke my contract. You lost me potential money. So while I think it would be pretty ridiculous for Disney to just straight up lie about this, they have straight up lied in the past regarding contractual agreements. So I'm not taking a side one way or another. All I'm saying is that it is totally possible, based on Disney's past behavior, that Victoria Alonso maybe did get did get blessing from Disney to work on Argentina 85, and something else happened, and Disney is like weirdly just lying about it, because they've done this in the past. They are a dishonest company. So I'll just put that out there. We're gonna have to wait and see what comes from this, but on that front, I'm gonna wait and see. But then here's the other interesting thing. A lot of people are, straight up, they just don't look into the situation. They just like, oh, she's in charge of visual effects. Well, the visual effects in Marvel have been bad in recent years, so that's why she was fired. It's because she was doing a bad job. Because if you even look like 5 seconds into the articles, you realize it doesn't actually have anything to do with the bad visual effects of Marvel. It has to do with breaching of contracts and such. But I would just like to point out, I don't think we can really blame one person for the bad visual effects in recent Marvel movies. As the Hollywood Reporter article stated, she did not greenlight 18 projects through the period of 2021 and 2022. That was not her. She didn't greenlight those. She had to get them through the door in that small period of time. But she did not greenlight all of those projects. So I'm like, I don't think we can use a Victoria Alonso as a scapegoat. And then even the other thing that the article talks about is that, a lot of VFX artists don't want to work with Marvel because Marvel changes their opinions and all that stuff, and they'll say they want one VFX shot, and then they'll just change their minds and say that instead of Shang-Chi fighting a robot, they want Shang-Chi fighting a dragon. They'll just change their minds midway through production. Again, that's not Victoria Alonso's fault. Because remember, Victoria Alonso is not a creative. She's not. She is a nuts and bolts producer that just makes sure stuff happens. make sure that everybody has like the resources that they need to get their job done. She's not a creative. Any indecision on the part of Marvel Studios when working with VFX artists, that is on the creative side. That is on Kevin Feige. It's also on Kevin Feige to greenlight 18 projects in that small period of time. Although, and we don't know this to be the case, but my personal thoughts are that Bob Chapek and the old regime at Disney probably forced Marvel Studios to make all of those projects in order to feed Disney Plus, but that's besides the point. It's not on Victoria to greenlight all of those projects. It's not on Victoria to be as indecisive as Marvel Studios is when just completely changing their minds and telling the VFX artists to do different stuff. That's not on Victoria. That is on, I would argue, Kevin Feige and the creatives. And it's the only thing that we can say about Victoria is that she's stuck with making those tight deadlines work. So it's like, if like VFX artists have this thought that, oh, Victoria Alonso is really hard on us, and oh, she's really, you know, she's really cutthroat in the way that she runs stuff. It's like, yeah, because she's stuck having to produce this much content, but she didn't greenlight the content. She's not making the creative decisions leading to the indecisiveness of Marvel Studios. She's just the one that's stuck with getting the job done. So, again, I don't, and again, listen, I don't know anything about I don't know much about the film industry. I'm not working in here. I don't know the inside of Marvel Studios. Maybe I just misunderstand it, and maybe Victoria Alonso is, at the end of the day, to blame for a lot of the issues that Marvel has been having. But from everything that I understand, you can't put the blame on her, because she's not a creative, and she's not greenlighting these projects. So that's just my take on it. As far as the firing and all of that, I think we are gonna have to wait and see, like, what is the case. Did she breach her contract? If she did, then it's valid for her to be fired. If she didn't breach her contract, if she got permission from Disney to work on Argentina 1985, then this is an unjust firing. The attorney is alluding to other stuff being involved. I have no idea what that other stuff can be, but we shall have to wait and see. So yeah, let me know what you think about all of that in the comments down below. Okay. Next up, we got a bit of an interesting project here. Or an interesting story here, I should say. It looks like Rebel Moon is getting an R-rated, sort of like Zack Snyder style cut. And I just want to say that this is annoying. Zachary, you're releasing this film on Netflix. If you want to make it R-rated, just make it R-rated. What is this? Just make it R-rated. Why are you doing this weird thing? Or I guess I should say, hold on, let me just make sure I'm reading this again. I guess it doesn't. Okay, here's what I'll say. If both of these cuts like release at the same time, then that will be fine if we can just like pick which one we want to watch. But if this is some like stupid thing where like, oh, they released the PG-13 cut, and then like 4 months later they're like, oh, here's the super special R-rated cut, then that'll be stupid. Because my whole thing is like, release what is the optimal movie? Like, what is Zack Snyder's vision for it? That's the one that I want to watch the first time that I watch the movie. I don't want to watch like a hampered version. And then 4 months later, Zack Snyder comes out. He's like, "This is my true creative vision, man. This is my vision." It's like, bro, you have all the power to just release the movie. Release whatever your vision is. I don't know. I think it's annoying, but we'll see how it all shakes out at the end of the day. Okay, next story. Owen Wilson, kind of like that Tony Todd guy, apparently is confirming that when Loki season 2 is going to end up coming out. let's see what he says. I guess they have kind of a little shot of Tom Hiddleston and Jonathan Majors from Loki season 2 and Ant-Man and the Lost Quantumania. And I think that's coming out end of the summer or September. Before this interview, it had been stated that the season would premiere in late summer 2023 on Disney+, though a more recent report suggested that Loki may be delayed after that point. Honestly, I think that Marvel is in kind of a weird situation where listen, there's trouble going on over there. I'm not going to hold my breath on any of this stuff. Like I could see this stuff getting delayed out a bit more. Or I could see them just releasing them and hitting their dates. So I'm honestly not sure. Like I kind of can't say for sure at this point. But yeah, we'll see. Okay. Another serious topic. Jonathan Majors has been arrested for alleged assault in New York. Actor denies wrongdoing. This is coming from Variety here. Jonathan Majors was arrested on Saturday in New York on domestic violence allegations after a dispute with a 30-year-old woman. According to a statement from the NYPD, the woman told officers that she was assaulted and was taken to the hospital with minor injuries to her head and neck. A representative for Majors denied the allegations. He has done nothing wrong. Majors' spokesperson said in a statement to Variety, "We look forward to clearing his name and clearing this up." According to the police statement, the officers received a 911 call around 11:14 a.m. A preliminary investigation determined that a 33-year-old male was involved in a domestic dispute with a 30-year-old female, the police said. The victim informed police she was assaulted. Officers placed the 33-year-old male into custody without incident. The victim sustained minor injuries to her head and neck, and was removed to an area hospital in stable condition. The police statement listed several potential charges: strangulation, assault, and harassment. The actor recently starred in several major studio films, such as Creed 3 and Ant-Man and the Lost Quantumania. He also has Magazine Dreams coming out yesterday. He also, I guess, signed to join an Amazon Studios movie, The Understudy. Okay, so there's a lot to break down there. I mean, first of all, this is obviously horrifying. Domestic violence and stuff like that is just like some of the worst stuff that you can hear about. So I hope that the woman involved, is safe and okay. I'm glad to hear that, it says that they were minor injuries. So hopefully she's going to be okay. And yeah, so we're going to have to wait and see what further details come out of this situation. Like, God, this is such a messy thing. So I don't even know what to say here. Sorry. Oh gosh, my mind is blanking. This is supposed to be a movie news show. I'm not supposed to talk about serious topics, but sometimes we have to do it. So I am about to talk about how this situation could potentially affect Marvel. Now, a lot of idiots will look at this and be like, "Are you saying that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is more important than the assault of a woman?" It's like, no, stupid. But this is a movie news show. I have to talk about how things will affect the news. It's like, obviously, the safety of this woman and the seriousness of this situation is more important than the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But yes, I am about to talk about how this could affect the MCU. Okay. First of all, how would Marvel deal with a situation like this? I think that now we'll just say, assuming that Jonathan Majors actually assaulted her, right? Because I mean, listen, it could come out. Maybe she came at him like with a weapon, like with a knife or something, and it was self-defense. I mean, maybe. But and listen, this is just one of those things where I don't know how you handle a PR situation like that, because even if it is self-defense, at the end of the day, your major star beat a woman. And listen, whether it's self-defense and it's justified, maybe not. I mean, that's just a PR nightmare, man. There are going to be a lot of people out there that, even if it was self-defense, are always going to have a problem with it. Now, I mean, obviously, like, look, if it wasn't self-defense, obviously, fuck Jonathan Majors. Hope he never works again in Hollywood. And yes, if he did just straight up assault her, I mean, yeah, there's no way that they're keeping him around. Like, you just can't have your major star of Phase 4 be a domestic abuser. That's just not a thing. Now, I will say, I think they'll probably handle it similarly to how Warner Brothers seems to be handling the Ezra Miller situation, where, like, from what I understand, at this point, he's only shot Loki Season 2. So my guess is Loki Season 2 would come out as it is. I don't think they're going to reshoot that, because much like The Flash, that's going to be very expensive to do. My guess is that Loki Season 2 will come out, but then they will recast Kang. Oh, God. But yeah, I would imagine that they're going to have to... Jesus, I'm sorry, I'm dying over here. I would imagine that, yes, they are going to recast Kang. I just... Like, I don't think it's going to be... I don't think they're going to, like, just no longer use the character, because Kang is kind of the focal point of Phase 4 of this multiverse saga. So it's not like, what they did with T'Challa, where it's like, yeah, you can conceivably, you can kind of just center the story around the peripheral characters. It's like, Kang is Kang. You can't just replace the character. So I do think I do think we'll see a recast. By the way, also, oh Jesus, I'm not even trying to compare the two situations. I'm not saying, obviously the Black Panther situation is a lot different, and it's valid for them to want to recast it. I'm just worried about how any of my words could possibly be misconstrued here. Sorry. but yeah, I think that they will recast Kang. I do think that that'll be the case, but we are going to have to endure, much like we're enduring with the fans, like several months of him still being in Loki Season 2, and a bunch of people on Twitter being like, they're protecting a domestic abuser, when in reality, no, stupid, they already shot Loki Season 2. It's already shot. You can't unshoot it. It's going to be very expensive to do reshoots. So yes, they're probably going to release Loki Season 2 with Jonathan Majors. Now, and again, this is going to be the same situation with The Flash. The current situation with The Flash is that, yes, they are releasing The Flash with Ezra Miller in it. But that's not really the important question. The important question is, what are you going to do after that? Because if they make another movie with Ezra Miller as The Flash, then you can say, okay, yeah, Warner Brothers is protecting Ezra Miller. But we can't say that until they make another movie with Ezra Miller. The same goes with Jonathan Majors and Marvel Studios. If them just releasing Loki Season 2 is not them protecting Jonathan Majors, if they make another project with Jonathan Majors, then yes, that would be Disney protecting Jonathan Majors. So I do also just want to clear that up. But yeah, obviously this is tragic. If this is true, man, what a waste of a career. Because Jonathan Majors has been poised to be the next big thing in Hollywood. If this is true, what a piece of shit. What an absolute waste. Just a very unfortunate situation. So, yeah, to wrap up this story, I hope that the woman is okay. I hope that everybody is okay and safe, and and all of that, and if true, fuck Jonathan Majors, and hope he never works again. Because this is one of those things with me. I don't know, man. Like, if you're a man and you're like beating on a woman, I just think you're just the absolute scum of the earth. Like, because like there is a power differential there, especially like Jonathan Majors, who is like a massive guy, to be like beating on a woman. It's just like you're just scum of the earth. It's just like fuck you. There's nothing about it. Like, you are just like that. It feels like just like one of the ultimate just abuses of power. I don't know. Like situations like that just immensely trigger me. So I don't know. I'll just say that. But yeah, that's all I have. That's all I really have to say on this for now. We'll see as more details come out. But yeah, for now, we'll move on to our last story here. So we got some set photos from Joker 2. Joker Folie à Dieu. Oh, sorry, I have somebody in the comments here. Yoitz Yana asking what happened. Oh, so if you weren't here, Jonathan Majors, star of Ant-Man and the Lost Quantumania and Creed 3, right? He's playing Kang the Conqueror. He's been arrested for an alleged assault. So yeah, we're gonna have. I mean, it is like confirmed that he did beat on a woman. Like he struck a woman at least. That does seem to be confirmed. But the only other kind of stipulation that maybe could have come out about the situation is that maybe it was self-defense. But then also, I'm an idiot. Maybe there are a bunch of other details that could come out that could maybe change the framing of the situation. But it seems to be confirmed that Jonathan Majors struck a woman. The only kind of stipulation that could come out about that, at least in my eyes, is that maybe it was self-defense. But all I'm saying is that if it's true that he just straight up beat on a woman, fuck him. Hope he never works a day again in Hollywood. So that's just me. Okay. Next up, talking about Joker Folie à Dieu. I have no idea how to pronounce his name. We got some set photos. So it looks like in this movie there is going to be like some kind of storyline around Harvey Dent being involved. Apparently there are protesters that have these signs that say Dent is a clown. And there are also signs that say like free Joker. So I guess, is there going to be like some kind of storyline about Joker, like protesters wanting to get the Joker freed and Harvey Dent being in opposition to that? I don't know. Kind of a weird prospect. Because it's like in the universe of the Joker, did you guys not see him shoot the talk show host? I don't even know what kind of protest there would be. But then then we also get our first look at Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I've been on this camera the whole time. Oh, sorry, hold up. These are the set photos that I was talking about. This is the free Joker set photo, and then here is the Dent is a clown set photo. And then here we have Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. I mean, I think she looks fine, I guess. I don't know. Like she looks like what Harley like could potentially look in the Todd Phillips Joker universe, right? It's not too overstated. She just has like some like clown makeup on her face. She's wearing sort of a Harley Quinn-esque outfit, but still a bit more underscored. I don't know. I think she looks good. I'm still gonna be very interested to see like exactly how they play Harley Quinn. Like what exactly is this character gonna be like? Like yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know, but I think I like Lady Gaga. I think she's a really good actress. I think she's probably gonna. I think she's probably gonna do well in this movie. I think it's more so gonna be a if there are any problems with this interpretation, it's gonna be more. I think it would be more so to do with just the direction that they take the film in the first place. But yeah, that is it for this episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup. It's been a long one. I've been streaming for almost 2 hours. My voice is shot. Bottle of water empty. Gosh darn. But yeah, we talked about some fun topics. We talked about some very serious topics. Let me know what your thoughts are on any and all of those in the comments down below. And I will see you next week. I do these shows. I'm gonna start doing these shows every Sunday. I'm about to set a time. I'm about to commit myself to the schedule. I'm gonna say you can expect these at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern time on Sundays. There we go. I've committed myself to that. I'm bad at commitments. I've never mind. I was about to make a joke. I've never broken a commitment in a relationship. This is already bad. So I'm just gonna end the stream. Bye.